The rain pelted my face as I stood frozen, staring at the crumpled papers in my trembling hands. My entire world had just imploded in the span of 15 minutes. Right after we buried Mom. I'm Callie, and until today, I thought I knew exactly who I was. Daughter of Sylvia Mackenzie, owner of Sweet Dreams Bakery, and someone who had just lost the most important person in her life to cancer. Now, according to my stepmother Linda, I was nobody. Your adoption papers were fake, she'd said, her voice as cold as the November wind whipping around us. You have no legal claim to anything. Here's your suitcase. I've packed what belongs to you. She dropped a small wheeled suitcase at my feet, right there in the cemetery parking lot. That's impossible, I'd stammered, rain soaking through my black dress. Mom adopted me when I was 3. I have memories, photos, documents. Fabricated. Linda's perfectly made-up face hadn't shown an ounce of emotion. Your mother was desperate for a child. She cut corners, made arrangements that weren't exactly legal. She'd pulled out a folder, showing me papers I'd never seen before. These are the real documents. As her widow, everything belongs to me now. I couldn't process what was happening. But the bakery, Mom wanted me to have it. She told me, the bakery, the house, her savings, they're all mine now. Linda had smiled then, a small, cruel twist of her lips. You should be grateful I'm letting you take your clothes. Now, standing alone in the rain, I clutched Mom's last letter in my hand. She'd given it to Jake, my bakery assistant, 2 days before she died, making him promise to deliver it after the funeral. He'd slipped it to me right after Linda's bombshell. My phone buzzed. Jake's name lit up the screen. Callie, where are you? You shouldn't be alone right now. I'm still at the cemetery. My voice cracked. Jake, she's trying to take everything. The bakery, my home. Don't move. I'm coming to get you. 10 minutes later, Jake's beaten-up Corolla pulled up. He jumped out, umbrella in hand, and rushed to my side. Jesus, you're soaked. Get in the car. Once inside, I finally opened Mom's letter with shaking fingers. Jake turned up the heat and waited silently as I read. Dear Callie, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone, and Linda has probably already shown her true colors. What she told you about your adoption isn't the whole truth. She's been planning this for years, ever since she married your father and discovered she couldn't have children of her own. The adoption was legal, sweetheart. Every document was real. But Linda, she's been systematically destroying and replacing papers since your father died. I discovered what she was doing too late, when the cancer was already spreading. But I left you something she doesn't know about. Remember the old recipe box? The one with the false bottom? Everything you need is there, and there's something else. Something about Linda that could destroy everything she's built. I'm so sorry I won't be there to help you fight this, but you're stronger than you know. All my love, Mom. Jake whistled low. The recipe box, it's still at the bakery, right? I nodded, my mind racing. Linda doesn't know about it. Mom never told anyone except me. We need to get there before she does. Jake started the car. The bakery keys are still in your pocket? I patted my dress, panic rising. They're in my purse, which is in the suitcase she gave me. We drove to the cemetery parking lot where Linda had left the suitcase. As I reached for it, Jake grabbed my arm. Wait, he said, voice tense. Look. Linda's sleek black Mercedes was pulling into the lot. She stepped out, phone to her ear. Yes, I'm handling it now. The bakery keys, the documents, everything. No, she won't be a problem, Chaz. I've made sure of that. I ducked down in Jake's car, heart pounding. Linda walked to her trunk and pulled out several boxes labeled Sweet Dreams Bakery. She's already started, I whispered. She's taking everything. Jake's jaw tightened. Not everything, not yet. He started the engine. We're going to get your recipe box, and then we're going to find out exactly what your mom knew about Linda. As we drove away, I clutched Mom's letter to my chest. Linda thought she'd stripped away my identity, my inheritance, my whole life. But she'd made one crucial mistake. She didn't know about Mom's last gift to me, and I was going to use it to take back everything that was rightfully mine. Jake, I said, my voice steady for the first time since the funeral, I need you to help me destroy her. He glanced at me, then back at the road. I'm in, but Callie, there's something you should know about Linda, something that might help us. I turned to him, rain still dripping from my hair. What? She ruined my family too, and I've been waiting years for a chance to make her pay. Jake parked behind Sweet Dreams Bakery, killing the headlights. The rain had finally stopped, but darkness was settling in fast. Through the back window, I could see Linda's Mercedes wasn't in the lot. Yet. What did you mean about Linda ruining your family? I asked, but Jake was already out of the car, testing the back door. Later, we need to move fast. He pulled out a ring of keys. I still have my set from closing last night. Inside, the familiar scent of vanilla and cinnamon wrapped around me like a hug. The kitchen where Mom had taught me everything she knew, where I'd grown from a clumsy kid to head baker, was still warm from the day's work. The recipe box is in Mom's office, I said, heading for the small room behind the kitchen. Jake, watch the front. I found the old wooden box right where it had always been, tucked behind Mom's ancient desktop computer. My hands trembled as I pressed the hidden catch on the bottom, just like Mom had shown me years ago. The false bottom popped open. Callie, Jake's urgent whisper carried from the front. Car pulling up. I grabbed everything from the hidden compartment, a USB drive, a thick envelope, and what looked like a journal, and shoved it all in my jacket pocket. The recipe box went back exactly as I'd found it. Footsteps clicked on the sidewalk outside. Back door, Jake mouthed, gesturing urgently. We slipped out just as the front door chimed. Through the window, I caught a glimpse of Linda and a man in an expensive suit entering the bakery. That's Chaz, Jake whispered as we crouched behind his car. The lawyer she was talking to earlier. My phone buzzed. Samantha, my best friend since kindergarten. I'd texted her earlier about Linda's bombshell. My place, I whispered to Jake. Sam's a paralegal. She can help us make sense of whatever Mom left. 20 minutes later, we were in Samantha's apartment. She took one look at my still damp funeral dress and disappeared into her bedroom, returning with sweats and a hoodie. Change, she ordered. Then we'll talk. When I emerged, Jake and Sam had coffee waiting. I pulled out everything from the hidden compartment. Start with the USB, Sam suggested, already booting up her laptop. The drive contained dozens of photos and documents. Sam clicked through them rapidly, her professional demeanor cracking as she realized what she was seeing. These are email exchanges between Linda and Chaz, she said, dating back 5 years, before your mom got sick. They were planning this, Callie. Look. The emails detailed everything. How Linda had discovered she couldn't have children. How she'd manipulated my father into changing his will, making her the primary beneficiary. How she'd systematically altered my adoption records after he died. Wait, Jake said suddenly, pointing at the screen. Go back one. Sam clicked backward. There was Linda's email address, and next to it, a name that made Jake go pale. That's my brother's email, he said quietly. Calvin. Your brother works with Linda? I asked. Jake ran a hand through his hair. Worked. Past tense. He was her personal assistant until 3 years ago, when she accused him of embezzlement. He lost everything, his reputation, his savings. He had to move across the country to start over. But he didn't do it, Sam said, reading further. According to these emails, Linda set him up. She needed someone to take the fall for money she was moving around. That's why you took the job at the bakery, I realized. You were trying to get close to Linda. Jake nodded. I needed proof she framed Calvin, but I never found anything concrete. Well, now we have it. Sam was still scrolling. And that's not all. Callie, you need to see this. She opened the journal, Mom's diary. The last entry was dated just days before she died. Linda came today, thinking I was too weak to understand what she was saying. She admitted everything. How she's been planning to take the bakery since she married Richard. How she destroyed the original adoption papers. She thinks she's won. But she doesn't know I've been recording our conversations. The tapes are with everything else. Use them wisely, my dear girl. And remember, the biggest secret isn't about the bakery at all. It's about who Linda really is and what she did 29 years ago. The entry ended there. The tapes must be in this envelope, I said, reaching for it. Before I could open it, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I know you were at the bakery tonight. Meet me tomorrow at noon at Carter's Cafe. Come alone, or I start the paperwork to seize the bakery immediately. Linda. Don't go, Jake said immediately. It's a trap. No, Sam countered, her eyes gleaming. Go, but not alone. We'll be there too, recording everything. And Callie? She held up the envelope. Let's listen to these tapes first. Tomorrow you're going in armed with everything we know. I looked at the text again, anger and determination coursing through me. Linda thinks she's calling the shots, but Mom made sure I'd be ready for this fight. And you're not fighting alone, Jake added quietly. For the first time since the funeral, I felt a spark of hope. Linda had no idea what was coming. Carter's Cafe was packed for the lunch rush when I walked in at exactly noon. Linda sat at a corner table, perfectly poised in her designer suit, a untouched cappuccino in front of her. Right on time, she said as I sat down. I assume you've had time to process our conversation from yesterday. Sam and Jake were at separate tables, looking like any other customers. Sam's phone was recording everything, while Jake nursed a coffee near the emergency exit. Process? I kept my voice steady. You mean how you waited until my mother was buried to tell me my whole life is a lie? Linda's smile didn't reach her eyes. Dramatic as always, Callie. I'm offering you a deal. A deal? The coffee cup rattled slightly as I set it down. After you tried to steal my identity? Lower your voice, she hissed, glancing around. Listen carefully. I'll give you $50,000, cash, to walk away quietly. Start fresh somewhere else. That's more than generous. I leaned forward. And what about the tapes? Linda's perfectly manicured hand froze halfway to her cup. What tapes? The ones where you admitted to manipulating Dad's will. The ones where you told Mom exactly how you planned to take everything from me. The color drained from her face, but she recovered quickly. You're bluffing. Want to bet? I pulled out my phone and played a short clip. Linda's voice crystal clear. Once Sylvia's gone, I'll make sure that little charity case never sees a penny of what's rightfully mine. Linda's eyes darted to the exits. Where did you get that? Mom was smarter than you gave her credit for. I stopped the recording. She knew what you were planning. She left evidence. Evidence of what, exactly? A new voice cut in. Chaz, Linda's lawyer, slid into the seat next to her. Because making illegal recordings could be problematic for you, Callie. I hadn't expected him. From the corner of my eye, I saw Jake tense. Not as problematic as fraud, I countered, or destroying legal documents, or embezzlement. Right, Linda. Should we ask Calvin about that? Linda's cup clattered against the saucer. How do you know about Calvin? I finished. I know everything, including what happened 29 years ago. It was a bluff. We hadn't decoded that part of Mom's message yet. But Linda's reaction told me it hit home. She gripped the table edge, knuckles white. You're lying, she whispered. Try me. I stood up. Here's my deal. Return everything you stole, the bakery, the house, my inheritance, or I take this all public, every last detail. Chaz grabbed my arm. Sit down. You're making a mistake. Take your hand off her. Jake was suddenly there, his voice low and dangerous. Now. Well, Linda recovered enough to smirk. If it isn't Calvin's little brother, still trying to clear his name? The evidence already did that, Jake said. Your emails to Chaz spelled it out pretty clearly. Linda's smirk faltered. Chaz released my arm. This isn't over. Linda stood, gathering her things. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Actually, I do. I held up my phone. By the way, there's something else you should know. The annual charity gala next week, I'll be there. Rylan Howard personally invited me to speak about Mom's contributions to the community. Linda froze. Rylan Howard was her biggest social connection, the key to her carefully cultivated high society image. You wouldn't dare, she breathed. Try me. You have until then to make this right. As Linda and Chaz hurried out, Sam slid into their vacant seats. Got it all on video. But Callie, that thing about speaking at the gala was a lie, I finished. But it gave me an idea. Rylan Howard hosts that gala every year. Mom always donated pastries. They loved her. And Linda desperately wants to be part of that crowd, Jake added. It's her whole identity. Exactly. I pulled out Mom's journal. We have 6 days to figure out what happened 29 years ago. Whatever it is, Linda's terrified of it coming out. I'll call Ryland's office, Sam said, already dialing. I handle some of her charity's legal work. I can get you that speaking slot. Jake touched my shoulder. Callie, when Linda mentioned Calvin, I should tell you something. There's more to this than just the embezzlement setup. Before he could continue, my phone buzzed with a text from another unknown number. I know what Linda did 29 years ago. Meet me at the old library tonight at 8. Come alone. This changes everything. I showed Jake and Sam the message. It's probably Linda trying to trap you, Sam warned. Or it could be someone who actually knows, Jake said. But you're not going alone. I stared at the message, thinking of Mom's last words in her journal. Whatever Linda's secret was, it was big enough to make her lose control at just the mention of it. I'm going, I decided. But first, we need to stop by the bakery. There's something in Mom's office I need to check. What? Sam asked. The dates in her old calendars. 29 years ago, Mom was working at the children's hospital. Whatever happened, it happened there. Jake's expression changed. The children's hospital? Callie. That's where Calvin used to work, too. The old library loomed dark and imposing as I approached, its Gothic architecture casting long shadows in the streetlight. Jake and Sam were parked around the corner, watching through their phone's video chat. Still no sign of anyone. Jake's voice crackled through my earpiece. Be careful. I climbed the stone steps, remembering what we'd discovered at the bakery earlier. Mom's old calendar had shown multiple appointments at the children's hospital in the months before my adoption. The same hospital where Calvin had worked in the records department before Linda destroyed his career. A figure emerged from behind a pillar. Not Linda. A man in his late 30s wearing a worn leather jacket. Calvin? I recognized him from the photo Jake had shown me. He nodded, glancing nervously over his shoulder. Thanks for coming. I've been following your situation with Linda. How? I never stopped watching her, even after she framed me. I was at the funeral, stayed in the back, saw how she treated you. Why contact me now? Calvin pulled out a thick manila envelope. Because I finally found proof of what she did. Not just to me, but 29 years ago. It involves you, Callie, and your real mother. My heart stopped. What? Suddenly, headlights swept across the library steps. A black SUV screeched to a halt. Inside, now! Calvin grabbed my arm, pulling me through the library's side entrance. He had a key, must have gotten it earlier. Jake, Sam, black SUV just showed up. I whispered into my earpiece. We see it, Sam replied. Two men getting out. Looks like Chaz is one of them. Calvin led me through the darkened library, past towering shelves to a back office. Linda's been paying people to destroy records for years, he said, locking the door behind us. But I managed to save copies before she got to them. He spread documents across a desk, clicking on a small lamp. Look at this, hospital records from 29 years ago. Linda was a nurse there. A nurse? That was news to me. In the maternity ward, there was an incident, a baby swap. Two infants switched at birth. One died a few days later. Calvin's voice was grim. The hospital covered it up, but Linda was responsible. She'd been drinking on shift. My hands shook as I read the documents. Are you saying the baby that died wasn't supposed to be with those parents? Linda switched the infant's ID bracelets. She was about to be caught when your birth mother, went into early labor. Linda saw an opportunity. Heavy footsteps echoed through the library. They're inside, Jake warned through the earpiece. We're coming in. Linda helped deliver you, Calvin continued quickly. When your birth mother developed complications and died shortly after, Linda falsified the death certificate. She reported you as the deceased infant, then arranged for Sylvia to adopt you through unofficial channels. But why? My voice cracked. Because the baby swap investigation would have revealed her drinking problem. She'd have lost her nursing license, gone to jail. This way, she buried her mistake forever. Or so she thought. The office door rattled violently. Open up, Chaz's voice boomed. Calvin, we know you're in there. Take these, Calvin shoved the envelope at me. There's a back door through that storage room. Go. What about you? I'll hold them off. Jake knows where to find me. Go. I slipped into the storage room just as the office door burst open. Through the crack, I saw Chaz and another man confronting Calvin. Those records were sealed, Chaz snarled. Like the records you helped Linda falsify? Calvin shot back. I heard scuffling, then Jake's voice. Police are on their way. Back off. I clutched the envelope and ran, bursting out the back door into the night air. Sam was waiting in her car. Drive! I jumped in. As we sped away, I saw Jake helping Calvin out of the building in my side mirror. They made it to Jake's car just as police sirens wailed in the distance. What did you find out? Sam asked. I opened the envelope with trembling fingers, pulling out birth certificates, death records, and hospital documents. Linda's been running from her past for 29 years. She killed a baby through negligence, then used my birth to cover it up. My voice broke. She stole me from my dying mother and arranged the adoption to hide her crimes. Sam's grip tightened on the steering wheel. That's why she was so desperate to discredit your adoption. If anyone looked too closely at the original records, they'd uncover everything. I stared at the proof in my hands. Mom must have figured it out before she died. That's why she left me the evidence. My phone buzzed. Jake, Calvin's safe, meeting at Sam's place in 20. You need to see what else he has. Another text followed immediately, this one from Linda. Whatever Calvin told you is lies. Last chance, Callie. Walk away, or I'll make sure you lose everything, including your precious bakery. I'm filing the paperwork tomorrow. I thought of Mom, fighting cancer, but still fighting for me. Of my birth mother, who never got to know me. Of Calvin carrying this truth for years. Sam, I said, my voice steel hard, call Rylan. Tell her I need that speaking slot at the gala. It's time everyone knew exactly who Linda really is. The gala's tomorrow night, Sam said, pacing her living room. Linda's already trying to block your speaking slot. She told Rylan you're mentally unstable. I was rehearsing my speech when someone knocked. Jake opened the door to reveal Calvin, looking more composed than he had at the library. Linda's getting desperate, he said, dropping a new stack of papers on the coffee table. She just tried to access my old hospital records again. Too late, Jake smiled grimly. We already moved everything to a secure server. Calvin spread out the new documents. There's more. Remember how I said Linda had been drinking when she switched those babies? She was drinking with someone. He pointed to an old staff photo. My heart stopped. Is that Chaz? Calvin confirmed. He was a junior lawyer for the hospital back then. He helped cover up the baby swap, and Linda's been blackmailing him ever since. That's why he's helping her now, Sam realized. She's still holding it over him. My phone buzzed. An email from Rylan Howard herself. Speaking slot confirmed for tomorrow night. Linda tried to intervene, but I've known Sylvia for years. If you have something to say, you'll be heard. We need to be careful, Calvin warned. Linda's not just worried about her reputation anymore. She's facing potential criminal charges. Which is why this has to be perfect, Sam said, pulling up a presentation on her laptop. I've organized all the evidence. Hospital records, death certificates, the recordings from Sylvia, Calvin's testimony. Wait, Jake interrupted, staring at one of the documents. That date? Calvin, isn't that when you first confronted Linda about the records? Calvin nodded. 3 days later, she accused me of embezzlement. And the day after that, Jake continued, she married Callie's father. I grabbed the timeline Sam had created. She married Dad right after Calvin threatened to expose her. She needed his connections, his reputation, and his daughter, Calvin finished. Having you close meant she could control the narrative if anything came out about your adoption. A text lit up my phone. The bakery paperwork is filed. You have 24 hours to vacate. Linda. She's trying to force our hand, Sam said. No, I stood up, anger and determination flowing through me. She's scared. The gala isn't just her social circle, it's her shield. All those influential people thinking she's this grieving widow, this pillar of the community. Once they know the truth, Jake started. She'll lose everything, Calvin finished, just like she made me lose everything. I picked up my speech notes. Sam, can you get the police records from the original baby swap investigation? Already on it. But Callie? She hesitated. Are you sure you want to do this publicly? It's going to be intense. Mom wanted the truth to come out, I said firmly. Not just for me, but for that other family who lost their baby. They never knew what really happened. Jake's phone chimed. Linda's just posted on social media about speaking at the gala, too. She's announcing a new charitable foundation in Sylvia's name. Using Mom's name to rehabilitate her image. I felt sick. After everything she did, use it, Calvin said suddenly. Let her think she's winning. When she's up there, playing the grieving widow. That's when we strike, Sam finished, eyes gleaming. Rylan scheduled you to speak right after Linda. I looked around at my unlikely team. Sam with her legal expertise, Jake with his unwavering support, Calvin with his years of gathered evidence. Mom had made sure I wouldn't fight this battle alone. There's one more thing. Calvin pulled out a faded envelope. I found your birth mother's last letter. She wrote it knowing she wouldn't survive the complications. It was supposed to go to you, but Linda intercepted it. My hands trembled as I took it. I can't read this yet. After the gala, after Linda faces what she's done. Jake squeezed my shoulder. Whatever happens tomorrow night, we're all with you. Linda thinks she's untouchable, Sam added, but she's never faced someone with the truth on their side. My phone buzzed one final time. Another message from Linda. I know what you're planning. Remember, you're nobody. Just an abandoned child playing dress up in a life that was never yours. I thought of Mom's strength during her final days, of my birth mother's last letter, of all the lives Linda had destroyed to keep her secrets. Tomorrow night, I said, my voice steady, Linda learns what it means to lose everything she stole. And this time, Calvin added quietly, she won't be able to drink away her guilt. We worked through the night, perfecting every detail. By dawn, we were ready. The gala wasn't just about exposing Linda anymore. It was about justice for two mothers, a lost baby, and every life Linda had ruined to protect her secrets. The Grand Plaza Hotel's ballroom glittered with crystal chandeliers and society's elite. I adjusted my midnight blue dress, Mom's favorite, and watched Linda work the room, playing the grieving widow to perfection. Everything's ready, Sam whispered, elegant in her black cocktail dress. Calvin's in position by the emergency exit, and Jake's got the tech under control. I nodded, clutching my small purse containing the evidence we'd gathered. Across the room, Rylan Howard took the stage, her silver hair gleaming under the spotlights. Welcome to our annual charity gala, she began. Tonight, we honor those who've made our community stronger. First, please welcome Linda McKenzie, who's established a foundation in memory of her beloved Sylvia. The applause was polite as Linda ascended the stairs to the podium. She wore white, innocent as a dove. Sylvia was more than my husband's first wife, Linda's voice cracked perfectly. She was my dearest friend. That's why I'm announcing the Sylvia Mackenzie Memorial Foundation for Children in Need. Jake appeared at my elbow. Live streams up. Local news is covering it. Linda continued, tears glistening. Sylvia's greatest joy was helping children. Though she had none of her own, she opened her heart to everyone. My hands clenched. Sam squeezed my arm. That's why I'm pledging $5 million, Linda announced, to help children find loving homes through legal adoption. The audience gasped appreciatively. I almost laughed at the irony. And now, Rylan returned to the podium. We have a surprise speaker. Callie McKenzie, Sylvia's daughter, would like to say a few words. Linda's perfect mask slipped for just a second. She hadn't expected me to actually show up. I walked to the stage, passing close enough to see Linda's knuckles whiten around her champagne glass. As I reached the podium, Jake dimmed the lights and activated the presentation screen behind me. Thank you, Rylan. Mom would have loved seeing everyone here tonight. I took a deep breath. She taught me that truth matters more than appearances. That's why I need to share something important. The first image appeared, the hospital staff photo showing Linda and Chaz 29 years ago. Before she was Linda McKenzie, socialite and philanthropist, she was Linda Wilson, nurse at Metropolitan Children's Hospital. Linda stood abruptly, but Rylan gestured for her to sit. In 1994, two babies were switched in that hospital. One died. The truth was covered up. I looked directly at Linda. By a nurse who'd been drinking on duty and a junior lawyer who helped hide the evidence. The next slides showed the hospital records, death certificates, and damning paperwork. The audience murmured, "That nurse then stole another baby, me, from a dying mother, arranged an illegal adoption, and spent decades destroying evidence of her crimes. This is slander." Linda shot to her feet. "She's mentally unstable." Actually, Calvin's voice rang out as he emerged from the crowd. "Everything she's saying is documented. I saved the records before you could destroy them all." "Calvin?" Chaz stood up, face pale. "You disappeared. After Linda framed me for embezzlement?" Calvin smiled grimly. "I was gathering evidence, like the recordings of Linda admitting everything to Sylvia on her deathbed." Jake hit play. Linda's voice filled the ballroom. "No one can prove anything. I switched those babies, covered up that death, and no one will ever know. Sylvia, you're dying anyway. Why protect that charity case you call a daughter? The audience gasped. Linda lunged for the podium, but Sam stepped forward. I wouldn't, she said quietly. The police are already on their way. We sent them everything an hour ago. Linda spun toward the exit, but security blocked her path. She turned back to me, mascara running. You don't understand, she hissed. That baby died because of me. I couldn't face it, couldn't let anyone know. When your birth mother died in childbirth, it was my chance to make it right. By stealing me? My voice shook. By destroying every life that threatened your secret? I gave you a better life, Linda screamed. A proper family. No, I held up my birth mother's last letter. You stole my truth, just like you stole that other family's chance to mourn their real baby. Police officers entered the ballroom. Chaz tried to slip away but was quickly detained. Linda Mackenzie, an officer approached. You're under arrest for multiple counts of fraud, evidence tampering, and criminal negligence resulting in death. As they led Linda away, she locked eyes with me one last time. I did love you, she whispered, in my way. Save it for the judge, Sam said coldly. Rylan Howard took the podium again, visibly shaken. In light of these revelations, all foundation funds will be frozen pending investigation. I watched Linda disappear through the doors, her white dress stark against the officers' dark uniforms. Jake appeared beside me. You did it, he said softly. Both your moms would be proud. I touched the letter in my pocket, my birth mother's last words, still unread. Tomorrow, I said. Tonight, I need to call that other family. They deserve to know the truth about their baby. We'll do it together, Jake promised, taking my hand. For the first time since Mom's funeral, I felt truly free. Linda's web of lies had finally unraveled, and the truth, though painful, would finally bring healing. The morning after the gala, I sat in Sweet Dreams Bakery, my bakery again, surrounded by newspaper headlines about Linda's arrest. Jake brought over 2 steaming cups of coffee as Sam spread out the legal documents across our favorite table. Linda's facing serious jail time, Sam said, highlighting key sections. Chaz, too. They're both cooperating with investigators, trying to get lighter sentences. A gentle knock at the door made us look up. An elderly couple stood outside, Thomas and Marie, the parents of the baby who died 29 years ago. I'd called them last night after the gala. Jake let them in. Marie's eyes were red-rimmed, her husband's hand steady on her shoulder. Thank you for agreeing to meet us, Thomas said quietly. Would you like some coffee? Fresh pastries? I offered, trying to steady my voice. Marie shook her head, pulling out a worn photo album. We brought something for you. She opened to a page showing a tiny baby in a hospital bassinet. This is our daughter, our real daughter, the one we thought was ours. We'd like you to have this picture. My hands trembled as I took it. I'm so sorry you never knew the truth. We named her Hope, Marie whispered. All these years we thought she was ours. Finding out now that she belonged to another family, that our actual baby. She couldn't continue. The police found the other family, Sam said gently. They're flying in tomorrow. Would you like to meet them? Thomas nodded, tears in his eyes. We'd like that, to know about our real daughter's final days. The bell chimed again. Calvin entered carrying more files. The hospital board is launching a full investigation, he reported. They're implementing new security measures for the maternity ward. Linda's actions are changing policies nationwide. Small comfort, Thomas muttered, but Marie touched his arm. No, she said. It means other families won't suffer like we did. That matters. My phone buzzed, a message from the detention center. Linda was requesting to see me. You don't have to go. Jake said, reading over my shoulder. I know. I looked at Marie and Thomas, at their grace in the face of devastating truth. But I need to. An hour later, I sat across from Linda in the visiting room. Her designer clothes were replaced by a dull jumpsuit, her perfect makeup gone. You look like her, Linda said abruptly. Who? Your birth mother. Sarah was her name. She was so young, so alone. I thought, Linda's hands twisted together. I thought giving you to Sylvia would make up for what I'd done to Hope. You didn't have that right, I said quietly. You played God with people's lives. I know. For the first time, Linda's voice held real remorse. After that first mistake, after Hope died, I started drinking more. When Sarah died in childbirth, I saw a chance to fix things, give you a better life than she could have. But you never stopped lying. You tried to take everything from me because I couldn't face the truth. Linda's shoulders slumped. When your father died, when Sylvia got sick, I convinced myself I deserved it all. The money, the bakery, the reputation. I'd given you a good life, hadn't I? Mom gave me a good life, I corrected her. You just tried to steal it. Linda nodded slowly. I know that now. The police found Sarah's family, your biological grandparents. They want to meet you. My heart skipped. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserve to know them, and because... She pulled out an envelope. This was in my personal files. It's your original birth certificate. Sarah named you Grace. I took the envelope but didn't open it. Thank you for this, but it doesn't change what you did. I know, Linda's eyes filled with tears. I'll be pleading guilty to all charges. It's time I paid for my choices. Back at the bakery, I found Jake waiting. Without a word, he pulled me into a hug. You okay? He asked softly. I will be. I showed him the envelope. My birth mother named me Grace. Beautiful name, he said. But you know what? You're still Callie to me, the strongest, most graceful person I know. Sam burst in, waving her phone. The court-approved emergency reinstatement of your ownership. The bakery's officially yours again. I looked around at the warm, familiar space where Mom had taught me everything about baking and life. At the corner table where she'd told me stories about my adoption. Stories she'd believed were true. At the kitchen where she'd shown me how to turn flour and sugar into something magical. Grace was my beginning, I said slowly, but Callie is who I became, thanks to Mom, my real mom, Sylvia. Jake squeezed my hand. Want to read your birth mother's letter now? I touched the worn envelope in my pocket, Sarah's last words to her baby Grace. Yes, I decided. It's time to know all of my truth. As the afternoon sun streamed through the bakery windows, I opened the letter, ready to embrace every part of who I was. Grace and Callie, Sarah and Sylvia's daughter, a child of both loss and love. The autumn breeze carried the scent of fresh bread through the open bakery doors as I arranged a special display of cinnamon rolls, Sarah's recipe, as it turned out. Her letter had revealed she'd been a baker, too, working at a small cafe until complications in her pregnancy forced her to stop. The bell chimed. My biological grandparents, Robert and Diana, entered carrying a familiar wooden box. We found more of Sarah's recipes, Diana said, setting the box on the counter. She would have loved seeing you continue her passion. Perfect timing, I smiled, pulling out a tray of pastries. I just finished testing her orange cardamom rolls. The door chimed again. Thomas and Marie entered with the family whose baby they'd raised, Hope's biological parents. Over the past weeks, the two families had formed an unexpected bond, sharing memories and photos, healing together. Smells like heaven in here, Thomas said, hugging me. They'd become regular fixtures at the bakery, finding comfort in our shared connection to the truth. Jake emerged from the kitchen, flour dusting his dark hair. Calvin just called. Linda's sentencing is today. I nodded, trying to stay focused on arranging pastries. Sam had texted earlier. Linda was facing 15 years, Chaz 12. The evidence was overwhelming, their guilty pleas a formality. You don't have to go, Robert said gently. I know. I straightened my apron, but I need to see this through. Jake touched my shoulder. I'll drive you. At the courthouse, Sam met us outside, legal papers in hand. Linda asked to address you before sentencing. The courtroom was packed. The case had attracted national attention, leading to investigations at other hospitals, changes in adoption laws. Linda stood when I entered, her face drawn. Callie, Grace, I've had a lot of time to think in jail about choices, consequences, about how one lie led to another until I couldn't find the truth anymore. I waited, remembering Sarah's words in her letter. My dearest Grace, whatever life brings you, choose truth. It's harder, but it keeps your heart whole. I'm sorry, Linda continued, not just for what I did back then, but for trying to steal your life now. Sylvia would be so proud of who you've become. And Sarah? Her voice cracked. Sarah would be too. The judge sentenced her to 12 years with possibility of parole after 8. As they led Linda away, she turned back one last time. The bakery, she said. The recipe box had a false bottom, but did you check the sides? That evening, Jake helped me examine the old recipe box. Hidden in a hollow panel, we found a small key and an address. It's for a storage unit, Jake said, Googling the location. Inside the dusty unit, we discovered boxes of Mom's old photos, letters, and journals, including detailed records of my adoption. She'd hidden everything here, protecting the truth she'd suspected but couldn't prove. Look at this. Jake held up a photo of Mom at the hospital, holding newborn me. Linda stood in the background watching. She knew even then. But she chose to love me anyway, I said softly. Even knowing something wasn't right, she chose to be my mom. Back at the bakery, I gathered everyone, Jake, Sam, Calvin, my grandparents, Thomas and Marie, Hope's biological parents. The evening sun painted the walls golden as I brought out a special cake. Sarah's recipe, I explained, with Mom's frosting, because I am both of their daughters, and all of you are my family, not by blood or papers, but by truth and love. Diana wiped her eyes. Sarah would have loved this place. She always dreamed of owning a bakery. That's why I'm renaming it, I revealed, unveiling the new sign. Sweet Dreams will become Sarah's Grace. Perfect, Jake squeezed my hand. Both your mothers, both your names. And look, Sam pointed out the window. A young couple peered in, admiring the displays. Your first customers under the new name. As I welcomed them in, I caught my reflection in the window. My smile, Sarah's eyes, Mom's determination. Linda had tried to bury the truth, but it had bloomed instead, creating something beautiful from the ashes of lies. The couple ordered Sarah's orange cardamom rolls and Mom's signature chocolate cake. As I boxed their order, Jake hung the final touch beside the register, a double frame. On one side, Sarah held newborn me. On the other, Mom taught toddler me to roll dough. Two mothers, Jake said softly. Two names, one amazing woman. I looked around at my unlikely family, bound by truth, strengthened by love. Linda's lies had meant to destroy us all, but instead, they'd brought us together, creating something stronger than secrets. Welcome to Sarah's Grace, I told the customers, my voice sure and strong. Everything here is baked with love and truth. Outside, the new sign caught the last rays of sunlight, glowing like a promise kept, a legacy honored, a truth finally set free.